I'm Ezrah Raya, reporting on the hottest issues and the biggest stories. This is the Manila Times. Apollo Quiboloy, the controversial leader of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, has failed to show up before the upper chamber. Senate Committee on Women and Children, led by Senator Risa Ontiveros, has given the pastor 48 hours to explain or appear before the Senate for an inquiry. The House of Representatives also cited the televangelist for contempt over refusing to attend hearings on the lower house as well. In 2021, a federal warrant from the FBI was issued for the arrest of Quiboloy for alleged sex trafficking of women and children as well as labor trafficking. Several lawmakers opposed his prosecution, including Vice President Sara Duterte, who showed her support for the pastor in a prayer rally just this week. The House recently approved a bill that seeks to finally revoke the franchise given to SMNI Network, a media company formerly led by Quiboloy. Here with us is the General Legal Counsel of Apollo Quiboloy and SMNI News Channel, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio. Welcome to the Manila Times, Attorney.
Yes, Ma'am Raya, good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Yes, Attorney Ferdy, you really are the person to call when someone is in deep trouble, Attorney. So, Senator Ontiveros, yes, Senator Ontiveros has given the pastor until Friday, 48 hours to show up for the Senate inquiry. So, will the pastor attend these hearings? And if not, why?
That is so funny because that's the same time frame that the House of Representatives Committee on Franchises has given us. In effect, he was given a reprieve from yesterday when he was held in contempt, but I appealed to the committee to give him a chance to explain. And with respect to Senator Antiveros, I am glad that she heeded the advice of Senate President Subiri that in the case of Ong versus Parmali, which invalidated the arrest of Mr. Lincoln Ong, and which incidentally, I was also the one who argued in the Supreme Court that a person should be given due process by giving him a chance to explain his absence.
So earlier for SMNI naman is the SMNI channel was originally suspended for 30 days, and then after the 30 days, indefinite suspension. Now the House is calling for the total revocation of the franchise of the SMNI network. So how is SMNI, as their general legal counsel, is there a way to fight this on your end?
Right now, it is not ripe for adjudication because under the principles governing our constitutional republic, each department has plenary powers to do whatever it wants to do within the confines of its own province. Meaning to say, when the legislature legislates, you cannot challenge is yet. You cannot question the wisdom. It's only when it becomes law that you can question the constitutionality. And although the House Committee has recommended the cancellation of the franchise of SMNI, the committee report still has to be concurred in by a majority of the committee and reported to the plenary, and then to be voted upon and then transmitted to the Senate. So it is far from over, and it is just that at this point, the battle, so to speak, will shift to the Senate as to whether or not the cancellation will pass muster in the other house of the of Congress.
Sir, let me clarify, So, will Pastor Apollo Quiboloy be appearing before the Senate? Because as I understand, both houses are in understanding that they are both the Senate is calling for a show cause order and the House is filing for contempt. So, is Pastor Apollo Quiboloy appearing before the Senate at all?
It's too early to tell at this point because I've yet to confer with him, and the circumstances before the Senate and the lower house are different. So we should know by Friday at the latest, as in fact, I have personally committed to Chairman Gaston Bunting of the House Committee on Franchise to communicate with him, to report to him personally as a matter of courtesy, whatever has occurred in our meeting to the extent that the same is not covered by lawyer-client privilege.
I know you're currently in Davao now, sir, no, precisely to plan legal action for the pastor. And I know you would like to treat SMNI and Pastor Apollo Quiboloy's cases separately. So, sir, remember in November 2021, there was a federal arrest from the FBI from the US for the arrest of Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. So, about these alleged sex trafficking as well as labor trafficking. So, what are the chances and how do you plan to prepare if an extradition was called for by the US government?
The process of extradition under our law is also a process involving a trial because notwithstanding the fact that the Philippines has an extradition treaty with the United States, it does not mean that extradition is automatic. Under the pertinent provisions of law, there will still have to be a trial for the judiciary to determine whether or not extradition is proper. And after this trial in the regional trial court, it is still not executory. They still cannot implement it because it may still be appealed to the Court of Appeals and possibly the Supreme Court. So actually, as we have stated before and as we shall state again, we are ready to face all legal processes, all accusations, as long as these accusations, these processes are made in the proper forum. And we have always maintained that the Senate is not the proper forum to determine the guilt or innocence of anyone with respect to the commission of a crime. That is not our principle. It is a doctrine initiated by the Supreme Court in so many cases. The latest of which, as you have mentioned, is Ong versus Senate Blue Ribbon Committee.
I understand what you're saying, sir. No, I mean the Senate or the House is not a place to settle these allegations, and you would like the power of the court on this. So, sir, so far, because we've heard the testimonies of different victims, on the House and on the Senate as well. Has any one of them filed a case to against Pastor Apollo Quiboloy, any of the victims at all? Is there an outstanding case?
There are outstanding cases, as in fact, the DOJ has resolved some of them. And that is what I'm talking about. That is the proper forum. And when it, as Pastor Quiboloy has said, it doesn't matter if there are thousands of accusations, if there are thousands of witnesses, as long as the forum is correct, it is the courts where there are rules of evidence, there is due process, there are rules for the presentation of evidence, and that the playing field is level. He is willing to face them. But definitely, the committee of Senator Rizzo Ontiveros is not the proper forum. That inquiry, that those hearings are not in aid of legislation, they are in aid of persecution.
If in case, these things don't go in the way of Pastor Quiboloy, will you be convincing him to surrender and face his crimes, alleged crimes?
Well, we will cross the bridge when we get there, because in my experience, these accusations which are trumped up eventually will be proven false. It has happened to my clients. The tax evasion case of President Estrada was ultimately dismissed by the Court of Tax Appeals. All cases against President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, electoral sabotage and plunder, were also dismissed after some time. So, insofar as I am concerned, we are always willing to participate in legal processes. And as I've said, as long as the playing field is level, as long as there is no danger to the life and safety of my client, and as long as there is an assurance that we will get substantial justice.
Okay, sir. So any last word for the Senate and the House on Pastor Quiboloy?
As I keep saying, the Senate and the House will do what they have to do. But my message to Senator Rizzo Ontiveros is please do not use your position as senator as a bully pulpit and as a platform for grandstanding. Everyone knows why you are doing this, because you want to be crowned as the flag bearer of the opposition for the next presidential elections. But when you use your office for such a purpose, to grandstand, to project your pathetic political ambition, you are a traitor to the millions who voted for you to legislate and not persecute and not try cases by publicity.
Strong as always, Attorney Ferdy. Maraming salamat po, General Legal Counsel of
Always a pleasure, Ma'am Ezra.